As far as the influence that LeBron James and Clutch Sports have on the franchise, she said, do they have the final say? No. Are they running the team? No, not at all. She then added about LeBron, I want him to feel confident in the team, that we have the pieces to win a championship. He has to be happy. I want to make sure that he's happy. So this obviously got a lot of attention yesterday for all the obvious reasons. We've put together an unbelievable panel to dive in on it here. Monica, I will give you the first word. What was your first reaction when you read it?
That was nice, but also duh. Like, you should not be happy, and I appreciate your attempt to let us behind the veil. But also, didn't Magic dip on you one time, and Phil Jackson's record in the front office isn't so glamorous? So I don't know if I'm encouraged by this, honestly, if I'm a Lakers fan. It just kind of is a state of affairs.
What did you think of it, Jay?
I kind of disagree with that. I like this because I think this is a move by Jeanie Buss to say, hey, look, I'm openly admitting to some of the moves that I made that weren't right. Now, I know we may question all the people on her board to help her make decisions, but it's showing some accountability to me from their leader. And she's saying, hey, at the end of the day, this all falls on me. That's what it said in the article. It doesn't fall on Rob Pelinka. It doesn't fall on Kurt Rambis, Linda Rambis. It doesn't fall on the coaches. It falls on me. And I like her having accountability. I think it's a first step in the right direction.
Yeah,
that's me.
I agree with that part. There's a lot of pressure on her. Obviously, her father gave the franchise to her, not her brother, to her, to run this thing. And so she puts a lot of internal pressure on herself. But she went in the article naming 6 people, 5 if you want to make Linda and Kurt Rambis Rambi, because it's plural. So you have Magic Johnson back in the fold as well. You have Phil Jackson also having some influence. She's admitting all of this, but saying they're not making decisions, but are they influencing decisions? And if you don't have one strong voice of leadership in the organization, one person that makes that decision, if it's her, it sounds like she's asking for a lot of help along the way. And that's when you lead to where you are right now. All these voices of influence, all these people trying to get what they want, and it leads to the chaos that we've seen this year.
When you have that broad range of people that we're talking about involved in this process, there is no possible way that all of those people see it from the same perspective on what they need to do. And that's what makes it very difficult when you've got that many different types of voices, right? And different types of people, coaches, former players, people that she's just close to personally. All these voices, the one thing you don't get from what she said is there's no transparency exactly on who does she trust the most to make these decisions. I agree with what you said. There's some accountability there. She's basically saying, listen, we paid all this money. We're this deep into the luxury tax. This is nowhere near acceptable. Well, yeah, we all knew that. But what is now gives people confidence to think that the voice that you're most reliant upon is the one that's going to help you turn this around. That's what we still don't know. And
Legs, to your point, none of those names instilled a great deal of confidence in me. Right. So, like, we talk about the collaborative forces. I mean, this feels like we've done this before, and it has not yielded results.
See, I just feel like with all these names, you have to take them in doses, right? And granted, maybe she didn't say that, but with Phil Jackson, all right, what aspects do you see of the best coaches? What coaches are available? Hey, Magic, who do you think will best collaborate with LeBron James? So you can get feedback, but how you interpret the feedback is everything for Jeanie Buss.
Too much feedback is noise.
Yes. Can I say, I agree with that, but can I just say one thing? It's one thing to take a lot of people's opinions into account. It's another thing to ask too many people the same question, because if you get 6 different answers, now you're in worse shape than you were when you started. But we have not mentioned the most important person in all of this, and that's LeBron James. So if you're LeBron James and you're sitting back, Stephen A. Smith said last week on First Take, the Lakers should consider trading LeBron James. Not only was he right, but I will go one better. He should want that. He has 0 chance of winning a championship in LA in the next 2 years. He has a much better chance of doing it someplace else.
And it's a lot harder for them to do what they're trying to do, which is rebuild or reface that roster. And like you said, when she said, we got to get it right, it's like, how many people? Who's all this we? But LeBron is one of them. And she expressed her loyalty to LeBron, want him to be happy here, which might suggest he's not. And therefore, maybe what makes him happy is moving on. We heard him say last month he would love to play with Steph Curry. I mean, there's an option there if you consider both franchises, because number one, the Golden State Warriors know their window right now with Steph Curry is starting to close, but there's still time. And what better way to get a championship or 2 than bring in, like they did with Kevin Durant, a superstar to play with him? They've got young pieces. They did a great job for 2 years to get them. And why not see if you can make something work where For the Lakers, you got a couple of young players, and Anthony Davis becomes your centerpiece, and LeBron gets a shot at more rings, and so does Steph Curry.
Hold on, I feel like we've just, Monica, what is that face?
She hates when I do this.
James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Jordan Poole, they have young players. You'd probably have to put a big contract in there, so that would be Klay Thompson.
Send Klay Thompson home, maybe?
My cautionary tale, if you're the Lakers, is those, Poole in particular, emerged in a system. What is the Lakers system going to be? I don't know why everybody's still so thrilled about Wiseman. I get it. There's still so many questions before I can reasonably look at that as a deal.
What do you think, Legs?
Man, I think that would go against everything the Warriors are about.
Yeah.
I just can't see the Warriors wanting to buy into that. You and I talked about this yesterday on your radio show. You know, LeBron, I really believe this. Does he want to win every year? Of course he does. But I also do believe he's also at a place he's comfortable in his own skin now with what he's done. He lays it out there and says, man, this is what my resume says, and I'm at peace. I sleep well at night. I don't think that was always the case with LeBron. I think he was up at night worried about his legacy and how he was viewed and how he was critiqued compared to Jordan and all that stuff. I think he's at a place now. He loves to play. He got beat up last year when he said, I'm having a time of my life because he was putting up 30 a night and they were losing. And people took that as like a losing mentality. I took it like, you know what? The guy loves basketball, and he's just saying, I still get to play basketball every day. And I'm in a different place mentally at this stage of my career.
Should
talk some sense, Jay.
Should we live in a world where
sense.
LeBron James is not on the Lakers as soon as next season?
I think that is a crazy, erroneous take. And just the fact that you agree with Stephen A. Smith about this, we are talking about one of the two greatest basketball players to ever walk this planet.
Right.
You just don't let him go after he had an MVP year at 37 years old. You just don't let him go. Like you make it work because LeBron James wants to make it work in LA. His family is there. He's built a whole culture around there. He wants to be there. So now you're gonna tell me, oh, I'm gonna. No way. I don't think that's the legacy of how LA would work. LA should own that and move forward and fight for it. You just won a championship 2 years ago.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.